Welcome to the ecosystem recitation. We have a fabulous team, I'd even say a dream team here to walk you through all of the organizations that have grown up in and around the Fab Lab network. And so I'll hand off to your guide, Sherry Lassiter.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sherry Lassiter, or Fab Labs, and I have the great honor to wear two hats in the network. One of them is working with Neil at CBA, and there I run and coordinate the Global Fab Lab program. And my second hat is to run the Fab Foundation outside of MIT, which Neil and Stuart Gaines and I spun off in 2009 to support the growth of this crazy, wonderful Fab Lab network. And grow it has. So we set up the first 3 proto labs in 2002, and they were in Costa Rica, in the Museum of Science here in Boston, and in rural India at Vigyan Ashram, which you may all be familiar with because they're a wonderful, wonderful node in the network. And since that time, though, the network has grown all by itself to about 2,500 labs in 125 countries. And we didn't build or create those labs. The 2,500 different communities and organizations built them themselves with their own funds and their own vision. And as is characteristic of the Global Fab Lab network, it self-organizes and it finds ways to collaborate and provide for the needs and interests of both the global community and the regional communities. And so today, what you're going to do is you're going to meet some of the leaders of these global communities and programs. We'll hear first from the Fab Foundation, from my team there. Then we'll hear about the conferences that we do every year, and that'll be from Narella. Fab City, which is an amazing global program. Then we'll hear from some of the networks. So the Fab Lat network and the Brazil network are amazing movers and shakers in their regions and communities. The Nordic Fab Lab network. And then we're going to hear about another special project called Fab Care, which is about healthcare and innovations using digital fabrication. And then we're going to hear about the way that we're trying to network, or one of the ways that we're trying to support the community networking and collaborating is the fablabs.io platform, which is in transition. So to get started, without ado, I'd love to introduce Luciano Bitoldi, who is the Vice President of Operations at the Fab Foundation, as well as Rodney Williams, who is our Program Manager for all of our education and outreach and corporate relationships. So with that, Luciano, would you like to share your screen?
Of course. Hi, everybody. Great to be here. I'm originally from Argentina. And I got started in Fab Labs around 2009, I believe. So right around when the foundation was starting, but all the way in Barcelona with Tomas and team at the time. And then I joined the Fab Foundation around 2016. So a few years ago now. Can everybody see my screen? Is there a better way to do this? Is that better?
You're good.
Good. All right. So let me pause this. So as Sherry was saying, the foundation started around 2009. And our goal, as we go through this presentation, I'll skip over some of these things because we have folks coming up that are going to be delving a little bit deeper into some of these things. But kind of what I'm going over today is just an overview of all of the different things that we do at the foundation, all the different pots, and we definitely, I feel, punch above our weight for our size, and we have kind of we try and do as much as we can for the network, and kind of the way that we think about that is divided in 3 buckets. So we have kind of the edu side, the .org and the .com. So we're going to again be hearing in more detail from others on some of these things, but this is kind of the overview of everything that we do. So on the edu side, we have the Fab Academy program that you guys have some experience with at this point, and I wish you all the best for what's ahead. Fab Academy as well, and other courses that have been prototyped or that are coming up. And then the Scopes DF platform, which is focused on formal education for K through 12 students, and then programs that we do focusing, again, formal education, both K through 12, but also higher education. And more specifically, those programs have happened historically here in the US. And Rodney's going to tell us a little bit more about that after I'm done. On the .org side, we organized the yearly conference. That's more detail on that soon. FabLabs.io, same. That's kind of our attempt to help the network function as a network, right? And connecting the labs. And then we've done fiscal sponsorship for a few key programs, especially during the pandemic. I'll touch on that a little bit later down the road. And then kind of the main focus for me personally, and Jean-Michel, who's also participating today, I see, is really assisting organizations that want to deploy labs. And so we work a lot with regional governments at a national level, all over the world, helping them establish new digital fabrication facilities, new Fab Labs in a kind of variety of scale. So all the way from mini, micro Fab Labs in situations such as, refugee camps, working with humanitarian organizations, all the way to full Fab Labs, networks of labs, and more recently super labs. And so FabLabs.io is kind of a project that was actually started in Fab Lab Barcelona a few years ago, and aims initially to sort of map and provide a first point of contact with the network. And we have a lot of plans for that coming up. As the network has grown, we're now at over 2,500 labs all over the world, and so it becomes increasingly impractical for that kind of connectivity between those labs to happen centrally. So, over the years, we've really pushed and try to help as much as we can in the creation of regional networks that are better able to create that connectivity and that kind of fast-paced communication, so that the regional networks and the labs can actually collaborate and benefit from being a part of a wider network. And then the conferences as well play a big role in that, and we'll hear more about that from others. This is the fiscal sponsorship side of things. So there are a few projects that over the years we've helped with, assisting to sort of route donations, or mission really is to support organizations that are showing how digital fabrication can actually provide benefit to communities. And so, COVID was a really great example of that with PPE production in a number of countries, and in particular in India, we worked with quite a large initiative, M19, and there is a lot of documentation on that on our website as well, if you're interested in what they did. And then again, the humanitarian side of things is something that over the years we've worked with a few different organizations, bringing digital fabrication capabilities to really remote locations, and situations of kind of dire humanitarian need. On the .com side, one great example I feel is still kind of up there for us is the regional network that we deployed in Kerala in southern India. So this was working with the state government there and their sort of innovation arm, and we deployed 24 mini labs throughout the state, hosted by engineering colleges. So we traditionally we're working on a kind of a case-by-case basis and doing individual labs, but increasingly we're helping to organizations to think kind of at a higher level about how Fab Labs can have an impact in large areas and in communities all over the world. So what, in terms of that work, what do we do on the .com side? What does it entail to deploy these new labs? So it really is everything from helping to understand what the goals are for that lab, what are the communities, what are their needs, and also what is available, what are the resources available, and what they're hoping to accomplish. And based on that, we sort of specify what equipment would make sense, procure that here in the US in some cases. In some cases, we've already started kind of procuring some things that are only available here in the US here, and other things that may be available on location or closer to location that way, and then delivering that to wherever it needs to go. And then we have a great network of consultants that we work with, Fab Lab experts, Fab Lab gurus. So we have Fran in Barcelona, we have Cebu in India, we have Abu in Ghana, and others.
Luciano, we're running out of time. If you
All
could,
right, I will speed through. I think this is pretty much the end of it for me. So yeah, kind of a turnkey solution where we're able to deploy a lab pretty much anywhere, and to support that lab in person pretty much anywhere. So that's what we do. And just some of the organizations that we worked with over the years. And that is it for me. And I will turn it over to Rodney.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I know that I met some of you all in Amsterdam, so it's good to see you guys again. So as Sherry mentioned, I'm Rodney Williams, and I am the program manager with the Fab Foundation. And in that role, I get to manage and implement educational outreach projects in the U.S. and abroad. In this role, I get to cultivate relationships with stakeholders that consist of project personnel, corporate professionals, K through 12 and higher ed administrators, instructors, lab managers, and also teachers and other educators. Luciano, can you go to slide 2? In terms of funders, I'm currently working with Chevron and Caterpillar. The Chevron network consists of 10 labs across 6 states. So if you see the labs are posted here, we have some that are at universities. We have a mobile Fab Labs, and some are at community organizations throughout the United States. The other project is with Caterpillar, and this is a new project. So it's we're working with DeSoto School District in DeSoto, Texas, and the other project is with Perth. These are starting from the ground up. With Caterpillar, they want to actually train teachers, so that's their goal with this. So we're reaching out to educators to train them in the digital fabrication tools so they can pass that along to students. You can go to the next one. So here we have working with historically Black universities, or they're called HBCU schools. And our 2 newest labs are with FAMU and Fort Valley State. They're also in the Chevron network. So as Luciano just mentioned, with deployment and procurement, you can kind of see FAMU, they're about to start construction. So you can kind of see their layout of their room, and then the stakeholders are in the picture there. But Fort Valley, they have did installation and training. So if the picture on the right shows how the space looked prior to renovation, and then afterwards, that's how we have all the equipment in there and they're up and running. So that's the basis of what I'm doing now. And I thoroughly enjoy this work. It's for me about access, and then allowing these educators and students in these realms to have the opportunity to work with the digital fabrication tools.
thank you so much, Rodney. Thank you so much, Luciano. Sorry we had to rush everybody. It's always that way. Next, we'd like to hear from Norella, who is a force of nature, and you're going to talk about the annual conference, right? Also with the Fab Foundation and Fab City Foundation.
Yes, thank you, Sherry. Yes, as Sherry mentioned, well, I work for Fab Foundation and the Fab City Foundation, with many different hats, to say the least, and also for Fab Academy as well. So it's a bunch of everything. But right now we're going to focus on the FabX event, or the Fab Lab International Conference and Symposiums, which happens every year. So I want to walk you through a little bit of what this means. See if this is changing. Yes. So basically, this Fab event started in 2005 as a little small gathering to try to articulate what was happening in the organic growth of the Fab Lab network. And it has scaled. It has scaled to a big network, as Sherry mentioned at the beginning. And right now, the conference allocates around 1,200 participants from around 55 different countries every year. So it's like the biggest, most important, where people have the opportunity to gather in person. We normally work online the whole year, which is great because we have this connectivity, but this is the really special time of the year where everyone in the international community has a little chance to get to meet in person and have like a different type of working space. So this, I'm going to walk you through a little bit of some pictures of the different editions. This was in Fab 5 in India. It was like a small gathering. It was nothing really fancy. It was really organic. It was run by Sherry at that point, which was amazing. I guess I wasn't there to experience that. But then it scaled up in Fab 10 in Barcelona, hosted also by Fab Lab Barcelona and by I guess the direction of Tomas. And it basically blew up. So this became like this important, really important hub of creation, development, work.
Did we lose Norella?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, well, let's give her one more, a couple, 30 seconds to get back, and then maybe we'll move to the next. Oh. Well, maybe, let's see, is she still sharing her screen? Okay. Let's see, Norella. There we go. Why don't we, then let's see, where are we? Maybe we could, Tomas, if you wouldn't mind, Tomas is,
Sure.
if Tomas is the director or the leader, executive director of the Fab City Foundation, and of course is leading this extraordinary work across the world. Tomas, why don't you take over for the moment?
I think Norella took over again.
I'm back.
Oh, you're
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry
okay,
about that.
never mind.
Did I have a
Okay.
little break?
Yeah, we
Sorry
just,
about that.
yeah.
Okay, I'll keep on. Basically this happens every year with the support of CBA, Center for Bits and Atoms, where basically everything started, and the Fab Foundation. We usually have a local host that takes the leadership onto what will happen onto a local context of how can we best appropriate or basically disseminate principles and practices on digital fabrication onto that new location. So we have had 19 editions so far since 2005. Right now, not even pandemic stopped us. We made it online. We made it online twice, which was also in Montreal. Then we went back to Bali, and now we are back on to Bhutan in person. So, and just stay tuned for the next 2 editions in Mexico and the Czech Republic. And so we have basically reached more than 6,000 participants over the 19 years that we have done this event, with more than 300 international keynote speakers. And this is a couple of like the last editions. You can check them out at fabevent.org. That's our basically repository of all the different events that have taken place over the years. And I want to give you like a sneak peek of how to get excited for this year's event, which will take place in Bhutan, as I already explained, a wonderful kingdom. It's a kingdom where we will be hosting the event from the 16th to the 28th with different components. So, and with the thematic focus of designing resilient futures, designing resilient futures, in which we want to basically help the Bhutanese community, which has been in the last couple of years upgrading their capacities onto Fab Labs and digital fabrication, and how can we help them with our knowledge of the international community empower the local community as well through digital fabrication. How can we help them create that future together? So I will definitely invite you. It's 14 days. I know it can be a long format, but it's basically a meaningful format that helps you understand
Uh-oh.
what is possible through digital. Again, am I back? No? Yeah?
You're
Can you hear
back.
me?
You're back. You're good.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my internet today. And basically it will happen in different locations throughout Bhutan with the support of the Fab Bhutan Challenge that will take place this year, including 4 different labs that are around Bhutan, and basically the main venue that will take place at the Super Fab Lab. You can read more on the presentation, and here basically it's a little overview of the different dates of where the event will take place. We will start with the challenge from the 16th to the 22nd. Then on the 23rd, we will have the Fab Festival at Thimphu, at downtown Thimphu, where we will basically open it up to the general public. Then starting on the 24th, we will have the regular structure of in the mornings, talks and symposiums, and in the afternoons, workshops and activities. Until the 27th, and then finalizing with the Fab City Summit with a lot of different content from the Fab City Foundation and the Fab City Network. So with that, I just want to invite you to this year's event. We have special conditions this year for graduates, especially related to your visas. I think Luciana will be soon sending out a little form for you to fill in. So if you are interested in just fill in that form, and we will have that sorted out for you. So thank you so much, and sorry for the interruption of the internet.
Thank you, Narella. That's a lot of information to get in so quickly. Then now we will turn to Tomas and the Fab City Global Initiative. Thank you, Tomas.
Okay, I hope you can see my desktop. Yeah. Yeah, you will see my slides in the link of the class, but I'm going to drive you through some links. So I'm not going to go through the slides. Hello, class. My name is Tomas Diaz. I am a Venezuelan urban planner which fell in love with computers and technology. That ended up by coincidence in Barcelona, and had the opportunity to set up Fab Lab Barcelona inside IAC. And that's, I don't know, I feel like I have been driven up by a lot of coincidences that had led me to, or took me to Bali now, and I'm in Indonesia now. It's 9 p.m. here. And from where I help a team, a global team, to run the whole Fab City Global Initiative. So I am also part of the story. I was part of Fab Academy Zero, because before it was Fab Academy, I was one of the guinea pigs taking Neil's class remotely, and to see if that worked. And then I helped Neil and Las to coordinate the class for the first few years. And then it just has been just like an entire Fab life, right? Like I cannot understand my life without Fab, and I think that for most of you will happen the same. So welcome to the family. You enter the family, you don't leave the family, if you know what I mean. So to give you a little bit of a hint about Fab City, it comes also from a personal interest, but also it's very contextualized with what was happening in Barcelona for many years. CBA and IAC had been collaborating for over 20 years already in different projects. And I think, when we set up the Fab Lab in Barcelona, it continued that incubation of that collaboration between the two institutions. And of course, it took things to another level of developing the Fab Lab and all the programs and the different projects also that help somehow shape what Fab City is, no? Basically, Fab City emerges from the Fab Lab network and also from the Barcelona and the city's context, with basically trying to respond one of the biggest answers of our time is how we can make cities more sustainable. And it understands this question from the production issues, no? Like if you take things to the very simple level, you look that cities basically import most of the things, and they produce a lot of trash, right? And they're highly dependent of external factors to satisfy its citizens, from energy to food to products to technology, and that leads to knowledge, right? So we, as inhabitants of cities, we have been kind of gradually be taken away from the knowledge of what it takes for me to live in a city. So basically, I depend from someone designing something, maybe in Copenhagen, and being manufactured by someone else in China with products that are being taken from Africa, no? And all of that is associated with a lot of, production of CO2, but of course, also with a lot of extractivism principles, basically driven by just economic growth. So what we understand is that what Fab Labs are trying to do, which seems somehow at the beginning like a very, I don't know, like how you call it? In Spain, we have the Quixote, no? Like a Quixotesque, you call it when you have a crazy idea and you think you want to change the world. We believe that it's actually true, and we need to scale it up, right? Like we need to take that power that Fab Labs have and that actually have been demonstrating during all these years that happen between people. So now you can design something anywhere in the world, and you can send the files to anyone, and they will reproduce that same circuit board or anything. No, you have seen that probably in the class. So what happens if we take that into a massive scale, right? Instead of putting things in shipping containers, we can just ship the data of how things are made, and we develop local infrastructure for cities to produce what they need. So that's what Fab City is, in a way, no? In a nutshell. It's trying to scale up that power of Fab Labs. It has 3 components, the whole Fab City Global Initiative. One is the Fab City Collective, which is under reconfiguration, but it's basically a group of individuals. And feel free to reach out to us if you want to become part of the Fab City Collective. But basically, it's people that individually want to contribute to Fab City in one way or another. The Fab City Network, which is the 49 cities that are now part of the global initiative, and also involves institutions. So it's more the organizational, the organizations that are part of this initiative. And then the Fab City Foundation, which is the minimum or infrastructure that we run in order to support all of these ambitious projects. No. So within the Fab City Foundation, we have been making an effort on developing, and it's very recently created, but we are making a huge effort on developing programs very similar to Fab Foundation in one way or another. And actually, we collaborate in many projects. But we try to work on of course, on education and also on complementing that work of Fab Labs in order to scale it up. No, one of the educational programs that we are working in collaboration with IAC in Barcelona is a distributed master. It's following the model of the Fab Academy, but taking it to the master level and more focus into the Fab City development. No, it's this part of, we call it also the design academy, or the design course of the academy. Last year, we organized together with CBA, Fab City Foundation, and the Meaningful Design Group in Bali, the Bali Fab Fest. And I take this into an example, just as I am wrapping up, to show you also what kind of a work that we're trying to do also from the Fab City Foundation is basically focused on the global south. We landed in Indonesia, of course, for obvious reasons, me personally here, but also there is a very fertile ground for innovation. It's an archipelago of 17,000 islands. It's a perfect test bed for distributed production models, having the geographical constraints of the island. It's a very young country, a very fast growth, but also with a lot of challenges in relationship with its natural resources. No. For instance, there is a kind of a very paradoxical discussion in Indonesia now. There is one of the main producers of nickel in the world, which is supposed to produce sustainable mobility for electric vehicles, but it's actually part of the devastation of the tropical forest. No, so it's this kind of I would say like paradoxes of our time. It's trying to find sustainable models of production. It actually compromises other things, like you might end up have cleaner air in Barcelona with electric vehicles, but at the end of the day you compromise like entire ecosystems in the other side of the world. No? So out of the Bali Fab Fest, one of the special programs that we run was the Fab Island Challenge, and this was really complementing what Norela was saying. No, I think like the Fab events have helped to nurture local Fab Lab networks wherever the event has been moving on. It helped also to expand the outreach of the networks. And I think like Sherry always mentioned this, no, like with the Fab Island Challenge, we just don't do an event. We connect with the local ecosystem and we try to impact in a different way that ecosystem, or more clearly in specific projects. So we're continuing. We did the Fab Island Challenge in Bali, 10 days, 10 teams, 100 people. And we're continuing. We're doing like a continuation of that. We're working with 100 students from Indonesia on the BEAM program. And we are assisting them, and we are doing like a longer term Fab Island Challenge. So we're continuing the projects that we planted in Bali in October last year. And the aim is to take it to a next level and see how this can reach out in local communities more stronger. 30 seconds last.
Okay.
We're continuing in Bhutan, of course. You will see the Fab Bhutan Challenge, and that's part of the event. This is a strong collaboration with Fab Foundation and with the local Bhutan team, an amazing network of local Fab Labs. So go to our site if you want to find more. And then I can keep going, but for the sake of time, I will just invite you to go to the handbook. We have the Fab City handbook. I will share you the link, in which you can have access to a lot of more resources that can help you to dive deeper into what Fab City is doing, and also with the slides. Thank you very much, Las.
Thank you, Tomas. Thank you. Just as a note, the challenge is really a special experience. So if you want to come and are going to come to Bhutan, please try to participate, because it's a very special way to, do something very concrete and make impact locally, or help make impact locally, and create a long-term collaboration. So thank you so much, Tomas. Next, we have the Fab Lat and Brazil network, but I don't see Benno here. And so, Kenzo, I'm wondering if you might talk about the Brazil network for us, if you could take over the screen and talk about the Brazil. And Kenzo has been leading this network for quite a while, and they are amazing. Amazing.
Okay. Thank you, Sherry. Let me share my screen. Okay. Everybody's seeing the screen?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. So I'm Kenzo. I am alumni of Fab Academy in 2015. I have two hats. I'm the co-coordinator of the Brazilian network and the CEO of the Institute Fab Lab Brazil, who was born in 2019. So we are organized in two organizations. First is the network, is a more informal way to communicate, and the institute is a more formal way. It's an institute, and we are two sides of the same movement. So we are two parts that connect, and for to understand that, we have like the network itself. We have three coordinators. It's a more organic organization. We organize through community, WhatsApp, community and groups. We have once a month meeting, and we have working groups. Right now, our most advanced working group is doing a book that organized with papers. And on the institute side, we have more formal organization. We have a board of 5 people that meet once a week. We have consultant projects, and we are seeking grants. It's particularly here in Brazil, you have to have 3 years to go for grants. So we are trying to do that this year. So right now in Brazil, we have around 147 labs. This is the timeline from 2001 to 2021. In 2017, we started to help support the pool of Fab Labs in fablabs.io. And from there to, I think now we have approved 36 Fab Labs help. And these are some of the labs. There's an interesting thing here in Brazil that we have networks inside of this network. So if you have, this is SESI, it's one of the biggest networks that they have 36 labs. This is Fab Lab live São Paulo. In São Paulo, both are São Paulo. This is the state of São Paulo. This is the city of São Paulo. These have 13 labs. This is Firja in Rio de Janeiro. They have 12 labs, and this is Pronto. They have 3 labs. These are other labs here in Brazil, and of course, and they have 3 labs here. And the labs are in Brazil. It's not the labs, only the labs, but the people. So we have also the people here. We put Norella here. There's Eloisa. There's a bunch of people. There's some Fab Lab alumni here also. We have Siron here. I don't know if you remember. And that's it. So this is my email. If anybody have any questions. I think I had 3 minutes. I don't know to go over it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenzo. I really appreciate it. I don't, it is amazing, the idea of networks within networks within networks, right? And that you have, you know, both for the state, for the city, and for not Sao Paulo, Rio, that there are just so many Fab Labs. I love the idea that you have a in one city that you can have such a large network. You know, a lot of people worry like, oh well, you know, maybe there's already a Fab Lab in my city, and there's never enough as far as I'm concerned. So you guys proved this. So I don't believe Benno has come, and so we're going to we'll go on to our next. Yeah.
Just a message from Benno. He's trapped somewhere in the road with rain and mud, so he's very sorry he cannot join. We just got an email from before. Yeah.
Well, Benno, just for everybody's benefit, Benno runs the Fab, or helps run the Fab Labs network, which is also an extraordinary network that you saw on Kenzo's map. There was an enormous number of labs across South America and into Central America. And so, you know, he helps lead that. It's one of the closest and most connected communities, I would say, in the network, in addition to say what's happening in Brazil. But for something that's even more distributed and larger, it's very, very special. It's a very intimate community and a very active and impactful community. And so I'm sorry we won't hear. You'll see, he's got a couple of slides online which may make sense or may not make sense, but hopefully you'll all get to connect to the Fab Lab network at some point. It is extraordinary. And so if we could, let's move on to the Nordic Fab Lab network. Frosty Gislason and he and a partner, Smari, started this quite a while ago as an innovation network, and they started this in Iceland, and then of course it's grown from them. And I'd love to, Frosty is a very special partner. Frosty, would you like to take over and talk to us about the Nordic?
Yes, good to see you all. Can you hear me? And I have shared the screen, and I guess that you see the screen as well. Okay, so my name is Frosty. I started in the Fab Lab network in around 2008, and I'm happy to be involved all this time. And it's like Thomas said, it's a huge part of our all lives, and we are so happy to be a part of this family. I'm going to talk about I'm a part of like the Fab Lab Iceland network. Now we have 13 Fab Labs there, but now I'm going to talk about the Nordic Fab Lab network. And we started meeting like together as a Nordic Fab Lab network at a restaurant when we were during Fab 10 in Barcelona. So, and this is the napkin where the first logo was designed on. So I will see. And this is image from Fab Lab Barcelona that you know. The Nordic Fab Lab Network is an organization and collaboration platform for the Fab Labs in the Nordics. The Nordics are considered as Greenland, Faroe Island, Iceland, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and the Åland Islands. And we work closely together. Our task is to improve the quality of the labs, help members to fulfill the Fab Charter. We are hosting a website and app helping members for project collaboration and project funding. We are a contact point for the Nordic Fab Labs, and we are developing our networks, our local networks, also connecting to the Nordic networks and the international networks. And we are also use the Nordic Lab Network to label members and what are the labs in the area. Each year we meet physically in one of those places that in the Nordics. Here last year or this year we met in the Faroe Island in a place called Vágur, and we have this each year we also do like pitching thing. The members pitch to be able to host like for the next boot camp, and on those boot camps we have a very good balance between like the meetings, the talking, and also like the workshops. We try to have more of the workshops. It is not allowed to have like talking meetings after lunch, but we try to build it up on working and sharing information like technical knowledge and so on. We also have each month we have like those monthly meetings where we are sharing information about the labs. We have like a hosting lab each month, and then we also share information what is happening in the whole network, and there we share information about what is happening about like funding and so on. And in the board we have members from all of the countries, and our communication platform are through Discord, Facebook groups, and Facebook page, and of course the website. And we are like sharing information about educational projects and also like different kinds of collaborational projects, whether it's like technical issues or what type of machines people have and what they are developing and so on. And I wanted to present to you that our next Nordic Fab Lab Bootcamp will be hosted by Fab Lab Alto in Helsinki, and it will be held in January 2024. And the idea is so that we will not be intervening when the Fab Academy instructors bootcamp will be. So we are, yeah. So that is what I wanted to tell you. I was trying to be very quick.
You did great, Frosty. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
thank you very
so amazing. There's so many interesting things coming out of the network, especially in education. I think in the Nordic network, a lot of work being done in Iceland, a lot of work being done in Finland, and this is work that you'll hear about, I hope, in the Academy or the education recitation in a few weeks with Nuria and team. But just to shout out to you all, it is extraordinary work that you're doing, getting digital fabrication into formal classrooms as well. Okay, well, so thank you, Frosty. Our next, this is a pleasure. Our next group is Fab Care. Fab Care is run by Adriana Cabrera and also Enrico Bassi. And it's a very special program that's come up around healthcare and innovation in Europe, and it's a growing program. And so Adriana and I think we actually first met in Chile, at the very, very tip of Chile, when you came down for that sort of first installation of the Fab Lab at the tip of the world. So anyway, please take over and let us know. Give us some great information about Fab Care. Thanks.
Thank you, Cherry. And yes, we have here the Fab Care group, and because I speak a lot, we said Enrico will take the floor. But first of all, I just want to say that yes, this group started actually in one of the these initiatives around also my interest through the Fab Academy and developing assistive devices, making let's say, and looking for an impact on how to help people also through the Fab Labs and digital fabrication, and especially this this joint interest with Enrico and with many more labs creates this initiative. And yes, I will give the floor to Enrico.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and present the project. Thanks, Adriana. Thanks, Sherry, for inviting us. So basically, FabCare started a few years ago because we noticed that a lot of labs around the world were interested in developing solutions related to health and care. And it's a sector that requires a lot of innovation. So at the beginning, we started working separately, and then we realized that there were this mass of labs doing already activities, sometimes involving doctors, sometimes involving people with disabilities. And we tried to collect the materials and the experience needed for every lab actually to have an impact in this area. Can you go to the next? Or I can share if you prefer. So this is our manifesto, is a way to put, let's say, all the values that we believe in a single sentence. Again, available and free. So if you want to print it and keep it in your lab as an innovation, we are very pleased about it. So the project originally started from us, but it's not only us anymore, of course. So it's growing. We want to involve more labs. We did that during the Bali Fab Fest. Tomas was mentioning the challenges. We were very happy to be involved in one of those, and we will share some of the results. So these are the 10 steps you can find on the website if you want to become a Fab Lab that does activities in health and care. The easier are the blue steps, and then you go on up to the most complex and advanced activities that we suggest you try after a while. So all the steps can be opened. You can just click it, you get a bit of a description, you get an example. We shared material for all the steps, so it's really like ideally taking everybody by hands and allow them to improve day by day. So talking about, for example, I can share the next one. You find a collection of platforms that shares projects that every Fab Lab can make. This is just one of the platform, and on this platform you can find like 100+ projects that goes from DIY prosthetics to object for people with autism or elders with arthritis. So it's really a wide spectrum, and everything is documented and open source. You're part of the platform that is, of course, it's a collection of materials that you design. So basically, involving people, users, doctors that are not familiar with technology. In technology-driven project is not always easy. So we created this set of materials that can be used. They really help you to understand what the problem is, frame it properly. There's a lot of design methodologies in it. And again, all the materials are available for free in open format where it was possible. So again, during the challenge we did in Bali, the local team changed one of the material to translate it in their own language. That's helped, of course, to speak about the problem with the people locally. So the challenge was to 3D print 1,000 prosthetic. That was the title of the challenge, together with a local maker that was really a genius, and a professor, and an association. So the context in Bali is that a lot of people get injured. We discovered mainly because of the crazy traffic. And sometimes they cannot pay for prosthetic. That becomes an issue even for their job. So the idea was to put together not just the solutions that exist, but also a process. So you can see in the next slide a brief video of the entire event. We will cut it short because of the time, but it gives you an idea of how it worked. It was really about understanding the local context, defining what was the infrastructure that was needed. This is the amazing team that worked on that. There were like 6 or 7 different nations. We went to a local center for people with disabilities and amputations, working with 2 users to understand what was their need and their problems. And based on the open design, we double-checked that the methodology worked. So someone designed the things thousands of kilometers away from where we were. We asked the people that never used the 3D printer to print the pieces. And at the end of the event, there were like 2 prosthetics fully working that we actually gave to the user.
Wow.
So this was the team. Very briefly, you can go to the next one. We helped in the medical training program. Actually, that was a super nice event done with one of the teams, done in collaboration with the Acropedia. So just, I will speed up. Sorry about it. We can move on. The labs of the network are doing different activities. So TechWorks is actually something that Adriana helped to open, if I remember correctly, and they decided to push in this direction as well. Adriana, if you want to say something about this next 2 events.
Yes, maybe just shortly to mention that, as we said, FabCare is an initiative that moves around the world, and TechWorks had a lot of interest about assistive technologies. And as Fab Academy instructor last year, we had the opportunity to discuss this. And at the end of the year, we did this talk with 5 labs in different places from Latin America, from France, from Jordan and Japan. And the next one is the 3D Fashion Week, that it was a part of the ideation of the Fab Labs IO that we did in the last year. So Delia Barriga, who is also a very active woman and leader, did this special or push a lot in this direction of healthcare, sport, and did this fashion runaway around this topic.
Thank you. You too. Your time is up. Okay, just very quickly, what is this? Next.
Just briefly, the next step is going to be to help the labs with training if you want to. And we are also working together with some students in a university here in Milan that are actually waiting for me to finish, to work on medical trainers together with Dr. Zaid Al-Tawil, and it will be the next challenge. So whoever wants to participate, please be in contact. On the next slide, you should have a QR code where you can subscribe to the newsletter, and it's a way to, again, stay in contact and work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both very much. It's such an inspiring project, and I'm hoping that some of our Fab Academy folks will participate. Now we are moving to the last thing, and I'm sorry we're a little short of time, but Aznan is going to talk to you about fablabs.io. This is the platform that Tomas and team started many years ago that really has connected us and in great ways, and we're sort of renovating and renewing it so that it can be even more impactful. And with that, Aznan, who is with the user experience group at Singapore Polytechnic, will talk us through this. Aznan.
Thanks. Thank you, Sherry. Good morning, everyone. Good day to where you guys are at the different time zones. So as Sherry has introduced me, I'm from the Singapore Polytechnic. Together with my colleague Stephen and Lorena, we've been working with SingEd and together with Sherry and the team at Fab Foundation. And as Sherry had really mentioned, the Fab Labs.io platform has been an important platform for a lot of the community members to learn about the different people that exist, the capabilities and the technical information as a guide to kind of help people to do the work that they need to do to create a positive impact in their communities. There's also been some feedback though in quite recently about how we can help others, especially those who are new. And I think there was a message from someone about setting up a new Fab Lab, and this is what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do exactly is to basically do the work that really connects us as a community. There are three important pillars really about collaborating for social good, having equal access to resources, having equal opportunities for learning, while at the same time embracing diversity. And the whole idea here is how can we do this to make sure that people have the tools, have got the information to do the work that they need to do. So with this in mind, the journey actually started out back in November 2021, when we were looking at a lot of information from the people within the community, from the leaders within the community as well. This came in the form of some envisioning workshops that we conducted back in November 2021. We also connected with the Fab All-In folks to understand what are the sentiments that people have about what's the current state that people are in right now. And of course, during the Bali Fab Fest back in 2022, we actually reached out to a lot more Fabbers out there to understand what was going on. So the idea here especially from the Fab Fest event, there was a lot of pain points that we needed to kind of pay attention to and see what we can do to help them out, to make new connections. It's nice to see some of the people over here who were in that very workshop, Enrico, Adriana, so it's nice to be able to connect with people to get a lot more information about the current experience. So what do we have? So now we actually have got a proposal to look how we can make some enhancements to help new people, especially to get curated resources, to be able to get curated knowledge as well, without it being too difficult to access the particular platform. So to do this, what we are proposing are basically enhancements that will connect not only people that is in the community, but also the labs that they work in, the machines that they are able to operate, that they have very expertise in, as well as the projects that exist within the community. So the idea here is we want to be able to get information that is very useful, that has been highlighted by the community. And we want to make the enhancements to be as intuitive for all kinds of users. So we are now in the process of prototyping and developing what that interface can look like. What we have currently are ideas about how we can actually make the landing page a lot more user-friendly, also in terms of the search capabilities that's available within the platform. We want to be able to feature some key events, some key information about some of the labs, and how do the labs get featured? This is a process that we are still working on with various members of the Fab Lab community. The idea here is the map is a very important part of the platform experience right now, and we want to leverage that. We want to be able to say that, okay, if people are looking for information, we want to be able to see how the map can interact with the users to give them information about the where and the who. And the idea here is we want to be able to get people to search based on a particular map location, based on a particular pin, the information about the labs that exist, that is of interest to them. We also want to be able to look at the projects and the machines that are also connected to those different labs. So the idea here is if you're looking at a lab, you should be able to see the people, you should be able to see the projects. So this is the people, and you should also be able to see the projects that they are involved in. So just to kind of like give everyone a flavor of what this can be, we're going to give you a kind of a simulation of how the experience can be. It's about 1.5 minutes, so I think that should take me to my 8 minutes right through. Okay, data lagging notwithstanding.
Yes, there is that.
Yeah. So for new members, this is how we can visualize what their experience in being connected to the community can look like. You can see the endorsements and the badges that people have from the different community members as well, and the communities that they may be in. And it will still connect back to the labs that they operate in. So you should be able to toggle from people to projects to community to machines and back to the labs as well. And the map still continuing to be a means for people to connect and to get more information. That's it. Thank you very much, Sherry.
Oh, that is wonderful, Aznan and Singapore team. It's just amazing. I think I'd have to do a +1 to what Adrienne said.
Do you want
yes.
to talk about the heads up for Bhutan? What will feature that?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So what's going to be happening in Bhutan is that we hope to be able to take a working prototype for us to test to get more information about what the experience can be. So look out for us. We will be there in Bhutan together with a working prototype. Thanks, Stephen.
All going to make you test while you're there. Anyway, everyone, thank you. I'm sorry it was so fast, but it always is. And we really appreciate all of our speakers and our teams that participated today, and all of you for sitting in and listening. And stay tuned please sign up for Bhutan. It's part of your package. If you can, it's part of your tuition. If you can come, please register because we really would love to see you there. And we're looking forward to, as Tomas said, to you becoming a part of the family, or now that you are a part of the family. So thank you, and we will see you next week. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.